Mastercraft on the beat.
Baby, I've been searching for my only one, and you made me feel like now my life has just begun.
Hey beloveds, hope all is well. Thought I would be gone forever, huh? Well, I am back with another episode of my relationship series. This is episode number 6. Now, excuse my voice, I am a bit under the weather, but just had to come to you all since it's been so long to release another video. Those who are new to my channel, welcome. I'm Belleve, aka Yvonne, and this is a space used to inspire, motivate, and enlighten others using my own life lessons, challenges, and experiences to help make a difference in this world. If you are new to my channel and enjoy this video or any other video, please subscribe below, join the beloved crew, and don't forget to click the notification button so you won't miss out on any other upcoming videos. Also, stay tuned till the end to hear my bonus juice, which is a section speaking of my own experience involving this topic. Okay, so let's jump right into it. All right, so as you already know, the topic of discussion in this episode is how to identify the one for you. So there are plenty of fishes in the sea, y'all. And so to help keep the good fishes and throw out the bad ones, I'd like to dig into some of the key signs to recognize and identify a possible purpose partner, aka also known as someone that may be right for you. Okay? Now, this topic is vague as there are many components to consider someone to be a great catch, right? There are many things to consider, but these that I will mention are those things that you may want to use as a lead to move forward or to possibly see what could, what potential that particular connection may have. So it's not to say that these are the only things you want to look at or want to identify, but again, it is to it's kind of like a foundation to showing and knowing that this person may be someone you may want to keep in your radar. All right. Now this topic is vague, like I said. There are many components. There are plenty of fishes in the sea, and so this would help with kind of making things more selective. So you could kind of weed out what may not quite be a best possible choice and kind of take in the ones that are good choices. All right. So I'm pretty excited and I'm hoping you enjoy it as well and could see the light within my perspective in this particular topic. All right. Now, moving right into the main topic of discussion. Well, before I say that, I want to say this quote that I like. It says, "Sometimes the hardest part of being a great catch is accepting that not everyone's hands are strong enough to hold you, and vice versa. Not everyone is worth falling for you." And that's not from any particular person, but it is so much true. So you don't want to put too much energy into individuals that are not a great catch, that are not worth worth you falling for them, and vice versa, that are not strong enough to hold you if you were to fall, right? I don't know. I just wanted to add that little piece in there. But anyway, moving on to the main discussion, I have 3 important terms that I would like to use to go into depth with, right? The 3 things, like I said, not the ultimate things you want to look for, but the foundation of the things you want to identify in a possible connection. And so, with that being said, here are the 3 things, the 3 topics, or the 3 categories, right? We're going to discuss is number 1 is culture. All right. Number 2 is clan. And number three is call-in. Call-in. And I'll briefly go through each one of them as to what it is and why I'm mentioning those three words. But before I go into that, let me give a description or a definition rather of each word. So culture. Culture is the customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social groups. And for clan, it's a group of close knit related families, especially associated with families in the Scottish Highlands. Okay, so now calling is a strong urge towards a particular way of life or career or vocation. Again, calling is a strong urge towards a particular way of life or a career or a vocation. All right. Now, starting with culture. All right. There's a method to my madness, y'all, as to why I do things like this and why I select these words, and you'll see why. And keep a note, all three words start with the letter C, which kind of not necessarily intertwines with the five C's of effective dating, but I don't know, maybe I'm just drawn to C's. So, but moving on, the culture, right? Three things you want to identify in someone that is for you. I'm starting with culture. Culture is an important thing. And I'm going off a script here with this. I don't have anything that's, so bear with me. I'm not reading off of anything right now. Culture is important, y'all. All right. Culture is who you are, and that's why I gave the definition. It's a custom, it's an art, it's a social institution, and it's achievement of a particular nation. That word right there, nation, means a lot. All right, so what do I mean by that? You're from a particular place. For me, for instance, I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from St. Lucia. Hey, Lucian Passy. If you're from anywhere, it could be locally within the United States, or it could be outside, international, wherever in the world you're from, you carry different customs, right? You carry different arts, so to speak. You have a social institution about the way you do things, the things you eat, the way you talk, the customs, things that you're used to, that you were raised on. Those are all part of your culture. Culture doesn't necessarily mean, okay, you're African or you're Native Indian or anything of that sort. It's pretty much the way you do things, you're bringing up, how you're brought up, and the things that your grandparents or parents taught you. That's your customs. That's your culture. All right, and so that's important in identifying and wanting to be, how should I say it, wanting to recognize in a purpose partner, in someone that you're getting to know, because it's part of who they are, right? It's part of who they are. It's who they are, and you want to be able to identify with them. You want to be able to relate somehow. You want to take interest in their culture. Okay, that's who they are. That's part of who they are. That's part of, for me, it's part of who I am. So when I'm dating or if I'm getting to know someone, I expect them to want to indulge wanting to know about my culture. I expect them to want to ask questions. And I have this thing that I say, I want the person to be intentionally inquisitive, meaning you want to intentionally ask questions and want to get in all the person's business. You want to get in their business on who they are, where they're from. Oh my God, what kind of food do you eat? What's the population like? Or what do you guys do for fun? Tell me about you know, what's what's normal to you all, right? That's all part of culture. So being intentionally inquisitive is a good thing in a relationship, because it's not like you're being in the person's business, but you're wanting to know about that person. You're excited to know where they're from, how they act in their culture, their food they eat. If you're from an international location, what languages you speak, the foods you eat. I just keep saying the food you eat because I'm probably hungry at this point in time, or maybe because I'm just a foodie and I love food. But I keep mentioning food, food, food. But yeah, food is a big part of culture. And so You want to know all of that about the person. You want to also ask, hey, when do I get to go there? How do we get there? Do we need a passport? How do we get there? Through boat, through plane? Talk to me. Let me know about who you are. What someone who asks you those questions are again one of the things you want to keep an eye out on, because that means that the person is into you, they're interested, and they also have a great potential in being a particular purpose partner. Okay, so that's not the only thing you want to look at. I'll go on to look at the other two things, but that's one of them. Okay, so culture for me, I'm going to say this the last thing on culture. For me, it's a big, big, big part of me and who I am. It's part of it's a group. It's what makes me. So it's always good when someone's interested in my culture, who I am, and where I'm from. All right. Whew, that was a mouthful. Moving on to the second, that being clan. 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 I know some of y'all have not heard that word in a long time, but clan, as I mentioned in the definition, it's a group of close knit and interrelated families, especially associated with families of the Scottish Highlands. So, clan for me, I mentioned clan, which represents children. Can represents family, yeah, but for me, it represents children. So, I'm talking to those who have kids out there, whether they're grown folk, grown kids, or small little ones, babies, you name it. Clang is important. And the reason why is when you're meeting someone or getting to know someone rather, they should be interested in knowing about your clan. They should be interested in your kids. And not aggressively speaking, in the most simplest manner, so to speak. For instance, I like to give examples so you guys could understand where I'm coming from. You meet someone and when you meet someone, one of the first things they ask is, do you have any kids? Well, you answer and you say, yeah. For instance, for me, I have two. So when I tell people that, that's for them to know, if they're having to deal with someone who have kids, which is cool. You want to know these things, right? But in the process of getting to know the person, if they never inquire or ask anything about your kids, not in an intentionally aggressive way, wanting to know every single thing about the kids, but simple questions such as, how are the kids doing? Oh, have your kids eaten yet? Have you made dinner for the kids? Oh, are the kids off to school? Oh, how are the kids feeling? How are they doing at school? Certain things. I mean, this the most simplest question is a great gesture in showing concern. Okay. And I don't know about others, but I love when people are interested in knowing how my kids are doing, right? Because that shows me that they're potential partners that can be a father figure or a male masculine energy within a household if it was to get to a serious relationship, right? And so, dating someone and them only wanting to know about you, it's kind of like, well, why? I mean, I tell you I have kids. Why you only want to know about me? I mean, don't you want to know what are my kids' goals and aspirations are, or do you want to know how they do at school or what they like to do, just to get some ideas if it was to go forth to a serious matter. So I don't think it's a bad thing for someone who's a potential partner to inquire about your kids. Like I said, the most simplest gesture it goes a long way. It shows interest, right? So clan is an important one for me. It's not the number one thing I pay attention to, but it's one of the things I look at. Who's asking about the kids? Because as we know, those that you're dating that have kids, it come as a package, and that's why I mentioned a clan, because they're cultivated together and they're close knit family that won't be going nowhere. They're part of who that person is. And so if you're gonna get to know someone individually, personally, that should be some area in that person's life you want to also inquire about and know about, right? That might make sense. Let me know if this doesn't make sense to anyone, because I feel like it does. But again, that's my perspective. So you don't want to be too indulging, but also ask questions that show interest and know that you are someone who loves kids, or someone who doesn't mind having kids around, or doesn't mind dating someone with kids, right? So clan is the number two. Moving on to the number three. I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible for y'all. Number three is calling, a strong urge towards a particular way of life or career. So calling is number three, and it's very important because we're put on earth for a reason. We're put on earth for a purpose. If you don't know your purpose as of yet, keep keep trying to find it. Keep striving. It will come to you. But everyone has a purpose and what they need to do in life. So you if you have someone that you dating, getting to know, and they are intentionally inquisitive, my term, remember, intentionally inquisitive about the amazing things that you're doing, that you're gifted at, that you have a skill at, they will most likely identify and let you know they notice those things, right? For instance, guys who date me, I'm putting all my secrets out there, y'all, but hey, it is the truth. Guys who date me, if for instance they come on my social media, I have my YouTube page on social media. And so if a guy was to come who's interested in me, was to DM me or message me and say, "Hey, I'd love to get to know you," right? And I see that you have a YouTube page, which I've checked it out. And I see you have great content, or I love what you're about. I love your energy. I love what you're doing. Tell me more about that. Let's have a discussion. I would love to know those things that you're doing, what you're trying to do in life, what's your purpose. Maybe we could collaborate. Maybe we could work as a team on something. You could help me, I help you. Certain things, however way you want to open up conversation, right? It's a great way to start conversation, especially if it's genuine, okay? And to go an extra notch, to kick it up a notch, if they were to subscribe and then come to me and say, "Hey, I subscribe to your channel. I'm so excited about the content you have, and I could relate to that, and I want to know more. It seems like you're a purposeful woman. I want to know more about your purpose." Y'all, that is a huge, huge, huge ding, 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 ding. That's a huge thing you want to keep an eye out. That is a potential purpose partner right there. Someone who is excited about your purpose, who believes in your purpose, who sees the potential in you, who wants to grow and help you if they have certain skills that could help you. Come on now. Can I hear amen? Like, really. So if you have someone who's just lingering on your page, just all about wanting to know you, guess what? Your calling is part of you. Your children is part of you. Your culture is part of you. So if they don't inquire, or they don't be intentionally inquisitive about those things, and all they want to know is about you, yeah, you might want to second guess that person as a potential person. So look at those signs. Look at those. Oh my God, I'm so passionate about this, because it's something that I really strongly believe in. Those three simple things can be a, can identify somebody for you. Those three things. That means that person has substance. That person has values. They're a person of integrity, even because it takes integrity to to want to inquire about these things. I feel because you're doing it genuinely from the heart. You know how many conversations I've had with people and with guys, and they the conversations is just so blah. right? They're like, they don't inquire about, hey, what's your next step? What's your next goal? What do you see yourself in the next year? What achievements you have before the year ends? And guess what? People love talking about themselves. So if you open up that conversation with someone and you're genuinely interested, trust me, they will talk, and the person will let you know all the projects they have in mind and how it may relate to you. And then you guys, can move forward and see the big picture. A lot of people in the dating world wants to get someone they could build an empire with. Well, guess what? Those are all ways to build an empire with someone. Those are ways to build an empire. Knowing what their purpose is, collaborating with your purpose is, what's your purpose, and finding ways to build the kingdom of God. Because after all, we're here for a reason, to make a difference in this world, right? We're not just here to go to sleep, wake up, go to work, come home, eat, go to sleep, wake up, and repeat itself. We're here to build a kingdom. We're here to do specific things that helps the generation, that helps the world, you know. And as the Bible said, we are in the world. Although we're in the world, we're not of the world. Well, guess what? While we're in the world, best believe we got to help the world, right? With the gifts and talents and all the things that God has given us that can contribute to helping make a stronger, better nation. And if my passion doesn't come through this video as to what I mean by those three terms, culture, clan, and calling, I don't know what will, y'all. But I hope someone catch this and recognize it and use it within your own search in finding a purpose partner or identifying a purpose partner, because those things are, as much as they're simple, they are very huge. They're very huge. They're a great bell ringer in my eyes. So if anyone asks me about my culture, about my clan, about my calling, I'm like, hold up, we got a potential person. But in some cases, guess what? You get excited and then everything's going smoothly. The person upholds all those things, those qualities that you like in someone. And then guess what? The disappointment comes and something, comes to surface. Which brings me to the final juice episode of this, within this episode, right? The final juice, which I promised I would give to you all in the beginning of the video. So, an example of one of my own experiences with almost identifying someone who was a purpose partner, right? Met this guy, great guy, was very charming, who showed interest in those three areas, right? I'll keep it short. He showed interest amongst other things that I didn't mention in here that was interested in my eyes. That was very interesting. And so I took heed to continue and get to know him. Well, here comes the disappointment, right? This individual, as much as he had the specific qualities that I liked and he asked the right questions, he took care of himself. He had this thing about mind, body, and spirit, to have a good mind, body, and spirit for himself. He had an addiction. What kind of addiction? He had a sexual addiction. And no, we never got intimate. If you inquisitive minds are thinking, we never got intimate. Matter of fact, we never even actually met, to be honest with you. This was all through vocal getting to know each other. We never met, but he said he had a sexual addiction. So, of course, that brought up a red flag for me, right? Instantly, on many different levels. Why? First level is one, I have a daughter. And yeah, that's not going to work because I don't know what level or deepness is your addiction, which you mentioned sexual addiction. And the first thing that comes to any mother's mind is their kids, right? So yes, I was like, okay, time to run. But I was still inquisitive and knowing I wanted to know what level of addiction. He said, "Oh, it's nothing serious. It's just that I like looking at beautiful women." I'm like, "Oh, what?" I like looking at beautiful women, and I just love the women how their body, like, how their bodies are, and how God made y'all so beautiful, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I went. We were on social media at some point. You know, this was in the beginning before he mentioned about having this addiction. We exchanged social medias because we felt it was safe to do so after getting to know each other at a certain point in time. Kind of to get to know each other a little bit more. Well, I went right right off the bat. Here it is. He has his friends list exposed. It's made public. So I see like maybe 3, 4,000 friends of his. But the main thing that jumped out of it was they were all like females, and they were not just females. They were um beautiful females that had barely nothing wearing, right? That were like half naked. And then that was before he told me he had the sexual addiction, right? So I was questioning that from the get-go. I'm like, okay, the man seemed to be a good man, a nice guy to see what this is. But it was like a instant turn off to see the amount of friends and the people, because they always say you are who your friends are, right? I guess something of that sort. So I'm like, what kind of man is this that has all these women that's, covering their chest up with one hand, and some are just in bikinis. And to go even further, yes, my lingering eyes had to take note because I'm a very detailed person. I like to take note of every single thing. I mean, it's a great quality I feel that I need to have in my life, especially who I am and, things that I'm doing. But when I looked at it, the women were had bikinis, and he was liking a lot of those photos. Kind of like watching the Playboy, but on social media instead. You know what I mean? So I was like, it was like, womp, womp, womp. That was it for me. That was it. So while you want to, I say this to say, while you want to be, you know, stay alert on the things, the culture, the clan, and the calling that I mentioned that people might, a potential person will be interested in, be sure, of course, to stay in alignment with getting to know that person and all the other habits they may have that may be hidden. And thankfully, God allowed him to say those things to me so that I could know, hey, it's time to jet, because I would not want someone who takes interest in wanting to see other beautiful women. Okay, that's just not for me. That's not for me, and that's no. And so, yeah, that's my juice. That's my story. These things are real out here. We got to be cautious, and we got to know who we're dealing with. So never stop asking questions. If you ever meet someone and they're getting defensive when you ask questions, be like, hey, I have a right to be intentionally inquisitive, okay? Because I'm getting to know you. Trust comes with assurance, reassurance, right? You have to reassure the person that you're trustworthy if you want to gain that trust. So there's nothing wrong with asking questions, nothing wrong with, getting to know the person and asking questions. I can't emphasize on this anymore, like how I am. It's really important to ask questions. It's important to know who the person is beyond their interest in knowing about your culture, your clan, and your calling. Because those are just the three basic foundations you want to look at. But there are other things that may be hidden. So ask questions, put puzzles and pieces together, be intentionally inquisitive in the good way. Guys like to make women feel like they're what they call it, nagas, if they ask questions. If a man gets defensive when you asking a question, that must mean that he has something to hide. Because if someone is comfortable within himself, or if she's comfortable within herself, because it could go both ways, there's no reason why someone want to be closed in if someone wants to ask me questions. Me, I love questions. Go ahead and ask me all the questions you want because I know I have a clean heart. I know who I am and I know what I have to offer. And so, and I know I'm genuine. So there's no reason why I'll be defensive if someone was to ask me questions. Asking question actually is it's an attractive trait actually because that means you're showing interest. That means you want to know about the person. So yeah, ask along. Of course, you want to ask in moderation. You don't want to ask like you're in an interview, like you're interrogating somebody. But be open. Let the person know you're open for any questions. And when you get asked the question, whether it may come off as a offense, sometimes, especially if it's on a text message, it may come off offensively. Suggest that you speak with a person. Talking on the phone alleviates possible offenses that may come off in text that you think it might be offensive, but it's really not. So, of course, talking and meeting in person are the most number one way of communication. But I like to particularly talk over the phone before I even meet you because I need to know and dig and get intentionally inquisitive on what on who you are before I could even meet you in person for any kind of date. Okay. I mean, those are the old days, you know. You'd be like, hey, let's go on a date and let's do the talking on the date. No, we have high technology these days. We don't need to go on a date to ask, each other these questions. There's video chat, there's phone, there's emails. there's there's all kinds of technology now that you could use to ask those questions. So take precaution, take your time, and take initiative to identifying the good one for you. Weed out all the bad ones and keep the good ones, starting with those three foundations. Okay, because that's what I did. I continued to get to know this guy with the three foundation, and although he wasn't the one for me, he was a good potential. But until he identified that part about himself, that made it a no for me. And maybe that's something he has to go along and figure out and get deliverance from. I don't know what, but I would not be the one helping him through that. You hear me? So good luck, buddy, if you're listening. But all the best, love and light to you and anyone who doesn't move on to the next stage of getting to know who I am. But y'all, you are divine. You are special. So always be, never feel bad. Always be into intentional with your choosing. Always be intentional. Don't let no one make you feel like you're you're nagging or you're too picky. Hey, we're God's divine children, and therefore God wants the best for us, right? If He wants the best for us, then best believe we're going to need the best for ourselves as well. So, beloveds, this has come to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed all my rumbling through this. Like I said, this was off script, but hope you enjoyed nonetheless. And I look forward to continue on the series and coming to you with some more exciting topics that we all could relate to somehow, hopefully. Any comments, concerns, hit me up. You know my email, it's on the surface. And until then, stay blessed, stay BelleYOUtiful, and always know that you are wonderfully made. Until next time, beloveds, bye.